Hello beautiful people, thank you for joining me today. I'm Sharina and today I have with me Patrick Ta's Major Dimensions eyeshadow palette. This is the first eyeshadow palette that he came up with. I picked it up the previous sale before the new launch, the Rose eyeshadow palette that he has just come up with. It took me a little while to pick up this eyeshadow palette because I'm not so used to using these cream eyeshadows here, and this is the special feature of this eyeshadow palette. The recommended use for these creams are as an eyeliner, as an all over beige shade, or as a crease shade itself. So these shadows are supposed to be able to layer on very easily. For this video, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing 3 eye looks. For the first look, I'll just use the powder and then the cream shadow as a liner. For the second look, I'll add on the cream as well. And this is the third look I have, which I deepen up the look and added all the different kinds of finishes in the eyeshadow palette. So I'll be trying on the blush as well as the lip gloss. At the end of trying on the products, I'll come back and share with you my thoughts as to how I find the products and if the cream shadows are easy to use and which way I find applying it easiest. So let's start with the video. For the first look, I'll be using the cream shadow as an eyeliner. And to try the cream liner to line my eye with this, I'll use the Sigma EO6 wing eyeliner. And to layer a powder on top of it, for this side, I'm going to use the cream eyeshadow as a base. I'll use the lighter shade as a base. This blend out quite easily as well. Better with a finger. Yeah, this gives a brighter look as well. For the third look, I'll be using the deeper cream shadow to create a smokier look. I'm using a darker shadow to deepen up the lash line. And this is the finished look. Now to try on the blush. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to do just the powder blush on one side, the cream blush on this side, and then I'll add the cream blush on top of the powder blush to see the difference. Let's try the powder blush on this side. Start with just the powder. It seems like it's quite a light shade and takes a little bit of building to be built up. Now to use my damp beauty blender for the cream blush on the other side. So far my impression of the blush is that it's quite easy to smooth out and the color is not too strong as well. It started out quite a light wash. Now to add the cream on top of the powder here. It does look quite strong on camera. Let's see, just to blend it out a little bit. So that's the difference with the cream layered on top of the powder. Maybe add a little more cream on top. On the higher points of my cheek. It does blend out quite easily on top of the powder, so there's no problem blending out the cream on top of the powder. Now to try on the lip balm. This is called the Major Glow Lip Shine in She's an Influencer, and it has pearl pink shades in it. There's a minty smell to it, but it does feel quite comfortable. The feel of it is a medium thickness to it. My lips are a little bit dry, so let me see how it goes. So let's start with some of the swatches. For this eyeshadow palette, it has a total of 5 different finishes. We'll swatch it according to the different finishes that it has. So we'll start with the cream shadows, Lady and Woman. I was a little bit apprehensive on trying the creams as I was afraid it might be patchy, but to my surprise, it blended out easily and there was no problem layering the powder on the cream shadows. it definitely helped to give more dimension to the look itself, rather than just using the powders. So for metallic shade, there's only one, and it's called Exquisite. And this one, Patrick Ta did suggest that it can be used on top of the cream liner for the lower lash line to give a nice glow to the lower lash line as well. Next, we've gone to the 3 sparkle shades: Legendary, Opulence, and Abundance. For these shades, there's glitter particles in it. Legendary, Opulence, and Abundance. And what I noticed about these shades is that this gives off the brightest effect compared to the other 2 shades that we have here. We have 2 semi-matte shades, namely Lavish and Divine. Lavish and Divine. These shades are very soft as well. And just applying it on its own gives a very soft wash of color if we do not use any of the cream shade or the metallics added on top. And lastly, we have the 4 mattes. And the shade is Scandal, Mother, Absolutely, and Transition. Scandal, Mother, Absolutely, and Transition. So these are the shades. The shade that I like the most is this one here called Abundance, because it gives a brightening effect to the eye, as well as the deeper cream shadow called Woman. I find this a very nice cream shadow. I like this cream eyeshadow as well because it makes it very easy to line the eyes with this. My thoughts on the eyeshadow palette is that I am pleasantly surprised with the cream shadow products. I started off feeling a little bit apprehensive about using cream, but in fact, after using this palette, I realized that the cream products are well made in the sense that it blends easily, and it works best when I use the cream product as a base and to layer the powder on top for the eyeshadow. And it does help to give a richer look to the eyeshadow as well. And I like the ease of use as an eyeliner for this shade here. And another thing I realized about this eyeshadow palette is that if I were to just use the matte eyeshadows by itself, it gives a very light wash of color and a more natural day look. And by adding different shades and different finishes, it does give more depth and dimension to the look as well. So the name Major Dimension does describe it quite well, in fact. So this is a versatile palette. So let's do a swatch of the cheek colors. This is just the powder. Starts off quite light, so I just add on more, and then it can be built up. And for the cream itself, it's a nice feel on the skin. And now to put the cream on top of the powder. So it does amp up the color as well. And for the blush itself, what I found about this color, although it looks very bright in the pan, it started off quite lightly and can be built up in layers. There wasn't any problem blending out the cream on top of the powder. It's a pretty blush and it gives a nice flush of color. Just that for myself, I just prefer a less dewy look, so it doesn't draw so much attention to its texture on my cheeks. And lastly, the Major Glow Lip Shine. There's little micro shimmers in it. When I put it on my lips earlier on, my lips was a little bit dry and peeling. I could feel the dry bits, but now after settling onto my lips, it does seem to moisturize my lips a little bit, and I do not feel the dry bits on my lips. So although it doesn't have too much of a slip, it's a more of a slightly thicker feel, I'm happy that it did help in moisturizing my lips. Do feel free to share your thoughts on this palette, or if you're thinking of picking up the Major Dimensions 2 palette in Rose. Do consider subscribing to join me for future videos, and I look forward to seeing you again on my next video. Stay beautiful. Bye!